Amazing, aren't they? The tranquility people experience when watching koi is incredible. But where does that come from? There are several aspects that make these living jewels so beautiful, and one of these aspects is skin quality. This video handles two aspects of skin quality, namely, Sashi and Kiwa. There is a distinct difference between these two, but both have to do with the way a pattern on a koi starts and ends. Looking from the front of the koi being the head, Sashi is situated in front of a pattern, and Kiwa at the side and back of a pattern. Sashi and Kiwa are mostly important with the Gosenki group containing Kahaku, Sonk, Showa and Shiro Atsuri. These are koi with a dominant red, black or white color. Before we dive into detail in these aspects, let us first get an idea where to look for. First we take a look at Sashi. Let's take this majestic koi as an example to identify the areas where Sashi can reside. As you can see, the beginning of a pattern is where we might find Sashi. As multiple patterns can be placed on the koi, there are several places we need to look for the appearance of Sashi and determine its quality. We find Kiwa right there where a pattern ends. Sometimes it is not clear where a pattern ends. This is often the case at the edges of a pattern. It is safe to agree these edges can be categorized as Kiwa as well. As you can see on this example koi, the fantastic pattern placement ensures interesting areas where the pattern transcends to the white body. Now that we know where to look for Sashi and Kiwa, I want to present you the foundation of all of this, the skin of fish. If we understand this foundation, we can understand the characteristics of Sashi and Kiwa a bit better. The skin of fish is the result of evolution. What we see from the outside are scales and skin, and hopefully in a bright and desired color. But when you study the details of the skin, you discover three important building blocks that need to be remembered. The first one is the epidermis. The epidermis serves as a protection layer of the skin. The important one for us is the second underlying skin structure named dermis. That skin layer consists of a spongy layer and a dense interwoven matrix of collagen which is responsible for the strength of the skin. In both of these layers we find the third building block being the pigment cells that gives our fish their colors. Ultimately, we would like to have both the epidermis as the dermis peppered with high-quality pigmentation, as it means the fish has a strong colored base. The fish can then compensate for small omissions in skin color and structure. This also implies that potentially missing pigment cells in the epidermis or dermis is a potential risk for the total color quality. When want to verify the depth of coloring in the skin, there is a simple trick we can perform. Just bowl a fish and bend it a little bit horizontally and study the scale edges from a pattern around the belly. When you see white skin, you know the koi only has pigment cells in the upper layer of the skin. We have just learned that scales originate from the dermis and surface through the epidermis, and that color resides in both skin layers. Sashi can be compared with a blurred window to the underlying skin structure, where the scale is the actual window. That is interesting, isn't it? When Sashi is found, it means that in the dermis layer of the skin, pigment cells are present. Sashi can only be seen when the pigments are strong enough to shine through the overlaying scales. Koi with Sashi are considered to have a strong and stable pigmentation. Therefore, Sashi is considered a quality aspect, as it means that pigmentation is not superficial. A koi with Sashi could indicate the fish has not finished yet, and can still improve on skin quality. In the case of Sashi, the epidermis can thicken, causing the Sashi to disappear, leaving a very sharp line between the white and the color of the pattern. The blurry start of the pattern has evolved now and has disappeared. This will not always happen, but certain bloodlines like Senski are known to clear up at young age, making them very desirable and quality koi. Some bloodlines like Matsunosuke have a much longer development path. The genes of a fish are very important here, almost just as important as the patience of the koi keeper. Beauty takes time, and selecting gozenki koi that have no sashi at young age anymore could be risky, as there is not much room for improvement anymore on this aspect. Just be sure you know something about the parent koi from the breeder. Don't hope for the best. Hope is just another definition for postponed disappointment. Be aware of that when selecting koi. Now that I have covered sashi, it is time to take a look at Kiwa. With Kiwa, the pattern ends at the end of the scale. Kiwa is more a matter of taste and appreciation. It has 3 different appearances that I will cover now. The first appearance is called Marizome Kiwa. With this type of Kiwa, the colors reach out to the end of the scale in the pattern for each scale involved. This creates the visual appearance of leaves of a flower, giving the pattern a very lovely look. The second appearance is called Kamisori Kiwa. With this type of Kiwa, the pigmentation of the ending scale of a pattern does not follow the edge of the scales. On the contrary, it can cut it into 2 separate parts, creating a distinct line to end the pattern. Like a razor blade can do, sharp and steady. The Japanese word kamisori translates best to razor. Although there is nothing wrong with Kamisori Kiwa, it is less appreciated than Marizome Kiwa. The third appearance is a combination of Marizome and Kamisori Kiwa, and is called Kanzai Kiwa. The Japanese term kanzai translates best to mixed. Chances are big that this type of Kiwa is found on most fish, as it is most common. We have now studied sashi and Kiwa, and it is a good moment to put our knowledge to practice. The best way to do this is to put one of your gozenki koi into a bowl and apply the knowledge you gained. Invite some fellow hobbyists and study the koi. Or take a look at examples that koi breeders put on social media. There are lots of pictures of koi. I have brought some examples with me as well, coming right up. One of the examples is presented here. Within a single glance, we have everything in one picture. We can see the sashi at the point numbered 1 and have Kamisori and Marizome Kiwa in 2 and 3. And, because both types of Kiwa are on the same pattern line, it is Kanzai Kiwa. Let's take a look at some more examples. We have 4 different koi here, all in different stages of their development. It is important to realize that you want sashi to disappear, so you must look for evidence that it will somewhere in the future. Therefore, predicting the development of sashi is much more important, and we will show you some examples here that can point you in the right direction. Let's do that now. The orange arrows indicate relatively wide sashi, or unbalanced coloring. Green arrows indicate balanced sashi, with good future to be invisible when the white skin thickens. The sashi in the first picture is interesting. As you can see, the patterns are close to each other, and the underlying red, called beni in Japanese, is strong. At this point in time, the white, called shiroji in Japanese, is unable to cover up the beni. This fish is tosai, and when it grows, the distance between the 2 patterns grows with it. Combined with the thickening of the dermis, the white could cover up this whole area, making a distinct separation of patterns. The sashi on picture 2 is relatively wide, and probably too wide to disappear in time by thickening skin. It is important to read this properly when you select koi. In this case, knowledge of the bloodline and parent koi is extremely important to be able to predict the possible development. The sashi in picture 3 looks nice, not too wide and nicely consistent. The koi will have a big chance of covering up the beni. Picture 4 is the most interesting one, as sashi is formed here with the color black instead of red. It is important to know that black as a color, called sumi in Japanese, has its own development path. We will make a future video of the development of black. For now, it is important to know that this can go all different ways. However, looking at the current state and quality of the sashi, you are good to go. The spot appointed with the orange arrow is questionable for now, but the sumi can disappear by itself or fully developing, cleaning up the area. I hope you have an idea where to look for. and improve your qualities in selecting koi with a future. Remember, sashi width and consistency are very important. We conclude the examples with a nice sashi and kiwa development. As you can see, the sashi has cleared up and disappeared, giving this koi a very nice transition from the white skin to the pattern. The skin condition, not to be mixed up with quality, is not on par with the development of the skin, but that is caused by quick growth on high temperatures. This will improve as soon as the koi is kept in colder conditions. Thank you for your interest, and I hope you have learned something. Sashi and kiwa are interesting skin quality aspects, and understanding them helps you to buy better koi. If you want to keep up to date and want to be notified for more interesting videos to come, please subscribe to the channel and like our videos. This will keep us running. Have a great day.